can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
What's up, FC fam? Hey, the season continues. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be the first day of the offseason. Nah. Let's do another one. Game 5 tonight. Tonight's a special night because we will have a watch party. So the popular ALCS watch party is back. Brent Rooker is back. Trevor May added to the mix. We needed a pitcher on there. Pierzynski's going to be on with us. Grayson Rodriguez is going to be one of the guests, among others. So make sure you tune in. You guys excited?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Kratz, you're not excited?
Oh, I shook my head, yes. I shook my head, yes. I'm super juiced about it. A little jealous, but super juiced.
Yeah, very excited. We'll take questions. Basically how this works is for the entire game, we'll be on. So it's like your alt broadcast that you can listen to. So we'll be breaking down what's going on during the game on YouTube the entire time. So make sure you check that out, okay? You'll hear from current big leaguers, former big leaguers, and we'll go over everything you need to know. We'll take questions, of course. And if you want us to ask any of the guys specifically about anything that they're seeing on the field, of course, we'll get to that as well. But very excited about it. Vinny P was hilarious, too, last time. We don't have him this time. I think he's on vacation. But
good for him. He deserves a vacation.
He does.
I know.
Yeah. He's a hard worker. So anyway, we're looking forward to that. Make sure you check it out. And we are going to get to our next seg. Are you ready to go? We get a little, what's the beat? All right, we're going to get Jesse Rogers on the show soon. So he did a story on the 2 criminals at the game last night that tried to rip Mookie Betts' wrist off, essentially, which is not cool. And the latest from Jesse Rogers and from AJ. Do you want to explain what the current situation is?
So originally, well, first of all, we'll just talk about the situation because
news first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to be banned from Game 5, as they should be. Mm-hmm. They should be banned for a lot longer.
Are they not banned for life?
They should be. I don't know that. I know they're officially out for Game 5. And MLB is, from what I was told, is going to go to them and say, hey, we're sorry that you paid for tickets. We'll refund your money, but you are not welcome back. And that was their opinion. That was the Players Association opinion. Mm-hmm. I believe that was also the Yankees' opinion, right? So everybody involved here thinks he's too, as Todd and Scotty would say, what, jagoffs? What's the word you guys use?
I say criminals.
Well, also, but like these 2 guys, for what they did, for what they did, I mean, they should be banned for not only this game, but for longer.
Yeah, I think they should be banned for life.
They should definitely lose their season tickets.
Yeah, easily. So they're not going to be at the game tonight.
They are not going to be
They
at
said
the
they
game.
were going to be at the game.
They said that, but
Who
they
told
don't
them that
Once
themselves?
again, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So they got kicked out, and what? They said, all right, well, we'll see everyone tomorrow because it's okay to grab Mookie Betts for 8 seconds. Todd Father, you were there. I mean, obviously you weren't in the section.
No. We had a good view of it, but I still didn't, from our vantage point, you couldn't tell whether he grabbed his arm or just reached over. And then we're looking up and saw the replay, and a couple of us, you laugh at first. You're like, oh, look at these guys. But at the same time, again, it's what they did was wrong. It shouldn't have been done. I think even in the article that we'll get into, I figured they talked about this before, which I think is pretty dumb too. At the end of the day, it's not football. But in my opinion, I think social media has gotten way crazy. I don't think they should be banned for today. I don't think they should be banned for life. I think it was a mistake that they made, and then you move on. I mean, that's just me in my opinion. I know you guys have yours, but it's New York fans, man. They got a little crazy. They got a little hectic. Could have gotten hurt for sure. But I think at the end of the article, as you read, he knew he made a big mistake. And, I just think right now people are some people out there on social media and everything else. It's just they're getting a little too crazy about it. I think you move on, let them come back, and if they do something stupid again, then that's it.
I feel like I couldn't disagree with you more, Todd, in the sense that we always say like, oh, the if. And I don't know if they should be banned for life. I don't know if they should be banned for life because they didn't come onto the field, but there was a concerted effort to do what they did to Mookie. Some people will say, oh, well, all he's trying to do is take the ball out of his glove. I'm not even going to debate that. I'm going to say he crossed the line on a professional athlete, an entertainer. Like in this situation, I get it, you paid a ton of tickets. I mean, you paid a ton for your tickets, even to the point where maybe if you want to let somebody off, the guy that was ripping the ball out of the glove, this clown with the glasses right there, who could have made the play and knocked Mookie from not actually getting it, but he's not athletic enough to make the play. He grabs his other hand, which has nothing to do with the ball. He grabs his other hand and starts pulling him. If the other guy's not even like yanking back on him. So I don't think he should come back because the next time, what happens the next time? What happens if he hyperextends his elbow as he's pulling him? What happens? And I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen people eviscerating me on Twitter for saying, oh, he wasn't trying to hurt him. I get that. But he could have. He was trying to hurt him more than the other 49,333 people that were there. There was a malicious intent there, and I think he should be banned from this game. For life, I don't know. I don't know because he didn't come onto the field.
They did come on. Okay, so first of all, Todd, are we reading the same article? Did you read Jesse Redger's article? Because they said their exact quote was, man, we've been waiting for this moment. This is our section. We're the defense here, man. We've been waiting. We're going to protect our section. Mookie Betts catches the ball. He actually comes back over the wall. They grab his glove, bring him back into the stands, right? The guy's literally ripping at his hand. The other guy grabs his hand. Now, listen, banned for life might be a little much. Fine. But they definitely should lose their season tickets rights. And they definitely shouldn't be at this game. Because imagine they walk into this game, right? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, there they are. Standing ovation, right?
That's definitely what would have happened.
Then every fan in Yankee Stadium is like, I want my shot at this. I want to grab the ball. I want to grab a player, right? Think about Steve Bartman. Steve Bartman his life was ruined, and he just reached up for a ball in foul territory.
Because it went against his home team.
Still, I don't care. Jeffrey Mayer, right? What Jeffrey Mayer did, now he didn't touch a player. So to compare this to what Jeffrey Mayer did, like Jesse did, we're going to get into it, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not even close. Jeffrey Mayer reached over the fence. It should have been called out. Richie Garcia, missed the call. It happens. There was no replay, right? But he didn't grab Tony Tarasco's glove and bring the ball over. He reached over, brought the ball over. That's the difference. He didn't maliciously, and maliciously might be not the right word, but maybe with intent is the right word. Grab a player, bring them into the stands, and try to disrupt what was happening in the game of play. That's the problem I have. Like, we can't encourage this. Like, you don't get a second chance. If I kill somebody, I don't get a second chance. Oh, he didn't mean it. He's sorry. I got to pay for my decision to kill that person. Now, this is obviously an over exaggeration of it, but
Yeah.
like if I openly make a choice to go out and drink and I drive and I hit somebody and kill him, should I get a second chance? Oh, he was sorry. Sorry, guys. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, if Taylor Swift has a concert and she's high-fiving some people and one person grabs her
And she
arm
falls
for
into the
8
crowd?
seconds and she falls and gets hurt, they're pressing criminal charges. No doubt.
and that person ain't coming back the next night.
They're going to prison for grabbing her arm and going like this. You're going to jail. There's no question. This wasn't like, oops, we both went like that. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No, it
8.
wasn't. It wasn't 8 seconds, guys.
I don't think it was 8 seconds. I don't think it was 8. I don't think it was 8.
I'm
You're
not
watching
trying
in
to.
slow
I'm not
motion a
trying
lot.
to attack you here. They made a huge mistake, and again, you're right, AJ. They did talk about this, and I thought I said that before. I guess I didn't explain it better. They did talk about doing this, and that's the stupidity. Agreed. Stupid, stupid, stupid. They should have never touched him. They should have never did that. But I think it's a mistake. I don't think it's criminal. I don't think they were trying to maliciously hurt the guy. Do I think it's dumb? Yeah, it was really dumb. But I think, you should have him back, put him in a different section, something like that. I don't know. I think we're just going a little overboard with the situation. And again, you can disagree with me all you want. It's just something from what I've seen. I don't think you should ban him. I think these guys were idiots. Let's put it that they were. That was a dumb move. But to go to the extreme to, all right, you'll never come back to a ballpark again, I think is wrong.
What about what if this happened to you, Todd? What if when you switched the ball out and you got that little giveaway ball, when you fell into Dodger Stadium seats, somebody down there like ripped you into the seats instead of just falling into the seats? Like, what in your mind, like how you were locked into games and you were competitive, would you have swung on somebody for, like, that's where I'm giving Mookie a lot of credit.
I'd have to be put in that situation. I can't answer that just because of the sole fact of the severity of the game. World Series, Mookie could have done a lot of things. He could have threw his glove at him. He could have, threw the ball at him, and he would have been rightfully so, in my opinion. He could have easily done that. But I think the security did the right thing. Get him out of the game. See you later. And, they're going to suffer the consequences at the end of the day. But I just don't think you should ban them from the stadium, for the rest of their lives. I think, honestly, they made a really dumb decision. They could have hurt somebody, but I think it's gotten a little overboard, in my opinion.
Can I ask you all a question, just yes or no? If you reach into the stand and, okay, there's at least 5 seconds. A guy grabs your wrist for 5 seconds, breaks your wrist, your career's over. Do you think it's okay if they continue to go to games after that, or would you say something? For each of you, what would you guys say?
No, I would agree with you, Scott.
You would say, hey, get the hell out of the game forever, right? So what's the difference?
He's
reaching up here. He was defenseless, and the guy's grabbing his wrist like that. I mean, just because that guy's not that strong and he can't break a wrist, if a lot of other people were holding that wrist, they'd break it. Those guys are just weak.
And he was lucky enough to where he could stand too and reach over. If he was up in the air, it's a different story. Like, again, I can't say this enough. It was really not smart move. I wouldn't ever think about doing that like they said they were doing. And that's where I leave it at that.
Okay, last thing for me is so if they were welcome back tonight and the same ball comes over and they do it again, Todd, would you be okay with them being kicked out, banned then? Because that's basically what you're encouraging. Let's say the same ball's hit, Mookie goes over and they're we're protecting our area.
I'm not encouraging it at all. That's the last thing. I think
but
they
there
would
has
make
to be
the right
consequences.
move. Yeah, they got kicked out of the game. That's the consequence. They got kicked out right when it happened.
I'm just so extreme on this.
Me too. I'm so against people touching players and people going on the field. I mean, so Todd, let me ask you this then. The guys that ran on the field and beat up the White Sox or the Royals coach in the White Sox stadium that year, should they just have been kicked out of the stadium and welcome back?
See, again, what I just told you before, we're getting extreme. Like that guy should be banned. He tried hurting somebody. I don't think those guys were trying to maliciously hurt him or try and hurt him. I thought they were going for the ball. They said that's what they talked about. And again, I don't agree with what they did. I don't know how many more times I got to say that. I think it was so dumb. But if people are talking about banning them for life, all right, they're not allowed to sit in those seats again. They got to sit somewhere higher. That's all. It's New York. And it's just these are New York fans, bro. They are relentless. They try at all costs, but it's something you've never seen before, of course. But again, I don't want to really. I'm trying not to harp on saying the same things. It's just what I feel. Sorry.
All right, we'll continue it with Jesse Rogers. He's going to come on later, but we've got Corbin Carroll, outfielder, joining us next on FT. Be right back. All right, FT fam. So a couple things. First of all, we did a post-game show last night. So if you want anything else from last night, we'll, of course, touch on some questions and some game stuff. from last night, but we also did a nice 25 minutes on what we saw, the Volpe grand slam, the Freddie Freeman homer, the Dave Roberts / Dodgers organizational decision to not use their high leverage arms, at least early on in the game. And then, of course, the game got a little bit out of hand. So post-game show is there for you. We'll do the watch party tonight, and there'll be a little post-game clip after the game ends. So if you want to catch our instant reaction to what happens in Game 5, we're there for it. While we have 1 minute, and then we're going to talk to Corbin Carroll. Todd Father, were you okay with Dave Roberts' bullpen management? Because essentially the Dodgers have been like, we're punting certain games. They did it in the Mets series too, and like morally you're like, I don't want them to not use their best guys and do their best thing, but they're like, we're trying to win one game out of the next 4, and if we're not up a good amount in a situation like this and we got another game tomorrow, we're just not going to bring out all the big boys.
I think, in my opinion, I think he had it set on stone what he was doing, no matter what, if you want the truth. Maybe there was an audible or scenario where if they went up, say 4 or 5 runs, it's a different story. Then you bring the big guns in. But, he's done this before, and he's stuck with it, gives their guys an extra rest. And then even if they do lose today, they have another off day of rest too as well, set up for 2 good games with everybody pretty much set. What's the old adage? All hands on deck. Sometimes you got to play like it's the last game. Some people will say that, some people won't. When they went up to Freddie Freeman, man, just absolutely incredible what he's doing. That's a whole nother story we can get into. I thought they should have put 4 fingers and put him on first. But he is just absolutely incredible. And, you go up 2-0, and if I'm Dave Roberts, I'm sitting there like, holy cow, we might get through this with a bullpen day. And then a ground ball out gets a run for the Yankees, and then the big boom by Volpe. Just absolutely incredible. Yeah, I think I can't fault Dave Roberts on this. Why change something? Why not give all these guys a chance? Because you might still need them, moving forward.
Here we go. Corbin Carroll of the Diamondbacks joining us right now on FT. Corbin, I know you'd rather be playing right now, but you definitely had a nice run last year, and happy offseason to you. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate the time. So what have you been up to so far this offseason, and how locked in have you been to October baseball? Because obviously last year you didn't have to watch any games. You were participating in them until the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking with some of the guys, and a couple of the guys are kind of on the train of like, hey, these games hurt a little bit to watch, and not tuning in. But I've been watching a lot of them. There've been some really good games so far, so I've enjoyed that. Other than that, just kind of getting back to it, getting back into that off-season lifting, conditioning, all that, and then taking a couple trips over to Berkeley and saw my sister's playing some soccer there. So it's been fun to watch that.
That's awesome. All right, so give me your thoughts then on what you've seen in all of October. Has anything stood out to you? Of course, the Dodgers on your side of the National League making it to the World Series, division rival. So what do you think of what you've seen? Did you see this as a World Series team too when you were playing them throughout the year?
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I thought San Diego was going to be the one to advance out of that series. I felt like that was probably going to be the team that going into it, if I had to take a shot at it, that was my team that I thought was going to do it. But LA's, everyone knows who they are. They've got, such a great lineup. Just really those top 4 hitters especially. Seeing them one after another, I mean, that's tough. And then the length they have in that lineup, there's not really a break. And then, what they're doing between the starters that they have and that bullpen that they have, that's a really good baseball team over there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you this. I had another question, but talking about their bullpen, I mean, I know you've seen them a lot more. They're so consistent, and they're when they get through when a starter gets through 5 or 6 innings, it's pretty much a done deal. What are you looking for? Like when you're facing these guys in the bullpen, what is the biggest thing you try and build off of when you're facing guys that are, you know, Hudson and Banda. I mean, you're probably facing all the left-handers and those guys. Is there something specific you're trying to look for with these guys? You're going up there like, hey man, I got to find a pitch in my zone, and if I miss it, I'm in trouble.
For sure. I've seen Banda and Vesia way too much. So, but no, I mean, I think the thing that stands out for me is, as a left-hander, they don't have, ton of change-ups in that pen. They're heavy four seams, big, sweepy, hard sliders. They'll get you off the four with a cutter or two in there. So seems like that's kind of their approach and what they go to. But obviously, on the changeup side, Honeywell's got that screwball or whatever. So he's the outlier there.
Corbin, is that your trophy case behind you, by the way?
Yeah, what do we think? I just got it set up yesterday.
I'm trying to look for the Rookie of the Year award. Where's the Rookie of the Year award? Is it like behind your head? Because I've never actually seen one of those in person, so I got to get a better look at that thing.
We got some trophies. Let's give this a move. We got some trophies, some cleats.
Oh,
Todd likes those.
Oh man,
Got some old magazines. I don't know if you can see that. We got some Griffey,
Yeah.
Ichiro, growing up. We got a drawing that a fan did, and this custom card from my World Series pants that one of the clubbies did for me, which was really cool.
That's sweet. All right, good. All right, now you can sit back down. Now we can get into something else because I love when you see people's trophy case and what they keep. And I have the studio we're in. I have a bar with all my shoes that Nike made for me over the years. So I admire people that keep their shoes and show them off. I'm a big shoe guy. But my question is when you're sitting there watching the Dodgers, right, and you're thinking, man, we played really well against the Dodgers this year as the Diamondbacks. And then you had to sit there the last day, not even the last day, you're on Monday, and hope and pray that one of those two teams lost 2 games. How hard was that? Were you guys sitting in the clubhouse in Chase Field going, come on, all right, the Mets make that huge comeback. You're like, come on, Mets, figure it out so we can go play somebody? I mean, that had to be the worst, 8 hours of your life.
Yeah, realistically, we knew that the shot was pretty low, obviously, since that team that won the first game had nothing to play for in the second. So it felt like we were looking at all each team's bench players. We're like, someone here is going to have to be the hero in game 2. Just I think it was who threw that second game? Was it? It was supposed to be Sale, but then it ended up being someone else, right? So
Yeah, it wasn't Sale. It was
looking for.
No, the Braves had to win.
right. The Braves had to win. I know, but Sale didn't even end
Sorry.
up
No,
pitching at all.
but the Mets threw.
It was
I don't know, they
free,
called up
wasn't
somebody
it?
and threw him.
Who
No,
pitched
they
that?
threw Lucchese.
That's right.
The
Yeah, but
Right, that was the
ex-Padres guy.
Mets. Yeah.
It was pretty funny though, sitting there in the clubhouse, yelling at the umpire every time a call went against the Mets. That was definitely something I'll remember. But yeah, obviously, we wish that we weren't in that situation. I think looking back on it, 89 wins, which is what we had, was a lot of wins to not get in. But the way things shook out this year, there weren't any of those, 100+ win teams this year. And so it took a lot of wins to get in, and we need to do the job and get at least one more done.
Did you guys show up? And most fans probably don't know this. You didn't know where you were going, if you were going home, or did you guys show up to the park with suitcases? So all your suitcases were lined up and you guys are ready to get on the bird. Does that make it tougher?
Yeah, I think it went so far as to they were already loading, our bags and stuff on the plane. Definitely, it was tough, but again, I think that most people realized that it wasn't huge chance that there wasn't going to be a huge chance that we were going to be getting on that plane, just since, again, that team would have nothing to play for after winning that first game. But yeah, just a weird situation, and hopefully one we can avoid in the future.
Corbin, you mentioned that you've already started working out for next year. And so I want to know, did you change anything? Because your rookie of the year, you had an unbelievable year, made a run to the World Series. Are you going to go like full Ichiro? You said Ichiro was your favorite player growing up. Are you going to go full Ichiro this offseason and like hit every day, throw every day, sprint every day, and then come back in and be like, man, I'm kind of tired from doing all this stuff? Or are you going to do your normal routine so you're ready to go when April 1st hits?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of reflecting back on the year as a whole, I had my 2 worst months as a big leaguer, and then the other months were kind of a little bit more in line with where I'd like to be. And so I think just trying not to let those 2 months define my year. There was a lot that I learned from it, and that's really what I want the takeaway to be is, those lessons learned. And I guess when you talk about this off season and planning now, on the running side, it's been minimal so far, kind of in more of a hypertrophy phase right now, but that's going to be a big focus this next year, as well as on the hitting side. I think I just found some people and some things that work for me, and so I think kind of just casting that net a little wider and having some more resources there, can never hurt, and plan to kind of just keep moving forward with those.
What did you change, though, after those 2 months? Because then you got back to Corbin Carroll that we're used to. So what did you change? Because when I watch you hit, I mean, it was a little bit off. You're a little bit more jumpy, maybe a little more forward, but you've always had a huge forward move. You're not like a Judge that just kind of sits on his backside, right? I mean, you've always had a bigger forward move, and that's how you generate your power. So what did you go back to? Is there like one thing that you go back to and say, if I can do this, I'm going to be good?
Yeah, for sure. So it felt like going into the off season, before this year, I wanted to make some changes. I'd had some swings in that second half that didn't feel so good physically, and trying to make some adjustments to not have that happen anymore. A lot of work with a 2-hand finish, and then basically my feedback of like in the off season was, does this swing feel good? And I got to a point where that was true, and throughout the year had no problems. But it also kind of took me away from an efficient swing, and my swing. So just getting back to that, I think was really big for me. It took a little while. It was really hard. I'd never felt like lost in that way with my swing. And so just getting some people in place to help me with that and get back on the right track, because it's hard to move in the right direction when you kind of lose those questions to ask. And I think just bringing some people in that helped me with that was really big.
When you talk about health with your swing, obviously I can tell you don't want to give away too much. Pitchers look at everything. They watch stuff. They try to figure out how to get the great Corbin Carroll out. Was it on that swing where you kind of got that stinger and it looked like you had hurt your shoulder? Did that linger more, or did that more linger in your head like, ooh, I gotta have a different type of finish?
There would be swings after that. That was really the first time that it happened. But there would be swings after that I would kind of just get these little stingers and get some inflammation in my shoulder. But and that was kind of just what I was trying to avoid. But, over the course of this year, didn't experience anything like that, and which was great. I mean, it's, I think rule number one to being able to be out there and give it your all is to be in good shape to do it, and so I felt like I was in a lot better shape to do that this year.
Hey, Corbin, I'm going to take us back to this series for a moment. You're an outfielder. Someone's going to ask you this at some point, so I got to get your take, right? You've been out there your whole short career, but also in the minors, the whole deal. I'm assuming you've never come across what Mookie Betts came across, and how would you have handled it / how should the league handle it? Like, don't you feel as if a message needs to be sent to a fan that you can't grab someone's wrist like that?
Yeah, that was tough. That was, I really don't even know what that was. Pretty fairly egregious. So yeah, I think just obviously that's unacceptable. I think that pretty much everyone's on the same page there. So I think the league will do what they need to do. But yeah, that just can't happen.
Would you have handled it as well as Mookie handled it? Because I keep thinking back, you never, until you're put in that situation, right? You honestly don't know, right? But I just think, like, if somebody would have grabbed my arm and pulled me into the stands, there would have at least been like a push or something, like, man, come on, give me my arm back. I don't know. Until you're put in that situation, you don't know, but I just feel Mookie handled it amazingly.
It's self-defense at that point too, if you push.
Yeah, I want to see someone do that to Tommy Pham and see what happens. That's what I want to see. I think Mookie handled it about as well as you can. So yeah, I mean, hats off to him.
Yeah. All right, so Corbin, let's get into the big Players Trust event that's going to be going down for the 3rd annual Playmakers Classic in Arizona. I mean, we're having you on here, of course, to chat, but also to get the lowdown on the event, which you've been a part of. I know you do a lot behind the scenes with the group, and I think it's pretty safe to say we don't know everyone that will be there, of course, because we got plenty of free agents, trades happen. You're good, so we can trust you'll be there. You'll be a part of it out in Arizona on February 18th, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, out in Arizona, so hope to see a lot of D-backs fans out there. But for people who don't know, the Playmakers Classic's an event that the Players Trust puts on, which is the philanthropic arm of the Players Association, and so they do a lot of really cool things. Especially I'd say advancing opportunities for youth, both in education and playing opportunities. I've got to be a part of a couple things that they've done. What comes to mind would be out here in Arizona, they did a STEM league where they created like these board games and let these kids, it was travel ball teams, come out and play. And I think that one specifically was math. And then there were also some kids that came out from Hawaii from those fires out there, and they brought a baseball team out to watch a game at Chase and see BP on the field, and we got to meet and talk to them. So I'd say those are like a couple examples of what the Players Trust does, and so this Playmakers Classic is supporting endeavors like that. They'll match player donations, all sorts of good things. And then, yeah, so I mean, the Playmakers Classic specifically, what it is they set up a bunch of table games. Last year was in Vegas when I got to be a part of it, and they set up a bunch of casino games. There's a live auction, a silent auction. A bunch of baseball memorabilia and just sports memorabilia in general. Fun time.
We were there last year. It was awesome. We're hoping to be out there again this year for it. Now, I got to ask you, there's 2 questions I have. One, you're trying for that Roberto Clemente Award. It's one of the highest honors in baseball. So, it means a lot to players to get it. And I love it that how much these players give back. And so to hear you talk about this and see on your face how much, it means he was awesome. But second of all, if they did have this in Vegas again and we went there, what game are you playing? Are we playing roulette? Are we playing blackjack? You seem more like a chill guy that could sit there all night and play poker. Or are you like me, craps guy? Let's get this over with quick.
Yeah, I'm more the house poker guy game, but if we're going to Vegas, probably sit with one of my buddies and play some blackjack.
Okay. All right.
And lastly, can you just give us an idea, obviously, of who, if you remember, was there last year? Because I mean, there are a ton of current players that are a part of this. This time we're in Arizona. So last year it was in Vegas in November. This time we're in Arizona right around spring training time. So you're going to rule out some of the players that are going to be in Florida, of course, that are in the Grapefruit League, but we'll have plenty of action out in Arizona.
Yeah, it should be a good mix. Like you were saying, like the players, they're all their charity endeavors and stuff like that. So the support for the Players Trust, on the player side is pretty overwhelming. So I'd expect to see a ton of players there. You guys might have to remind me, didn't they sell tickets to fans last year? I think that they were.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I think I remember talking to a high school baseball coach and his wife for a while. Out there, and I think they were in Summerlin. So yeah, just players, fans, all sorts of people out there. So yeah, really a fun time, and if people are going to be visiting Arizona for spring training, they should definitely make their way out there.
Yeah, code's right below you. Right below. Just sorry, Kratz.
Yeah,
right below for tickets.
Yeah. Fans can hit the QR code. It's easy. You get to rub elbows with Rookie of the Year, Corbin Carroll. Those are pretty twitchy elbows. Quick question for you. Juan Soto's a free agent. Would you move out of right field if the Diamondbacks said we're going to sign Juan Soto? Would you find another position?
I would love to. I would love to. I mean, yeah, I'd seen that guy in division last year. Obviously not his best year, but just everything he does is very special. So that guy's going to get paid a lot of money.
Hell yeah, he is. We'll be following it. Corbin, awesome to have you on. Thanks for the time. Thanks for what you're doing for the Playmakers Classic. We'll give another plug on the way out, and we'll catch you later this offseason. Of course, see you at the event.
And by the way, Scott's jealous of the height of your hair, by the way.
It is good height.
That is, however you do that, Scott, you need to call Scott and give him some tips. This is a little lower, but that big wave Dave you have is awesome.
That's awesome.
That's all right, not hat hair. That's the good stuff. Thanks, Corbin. Appreciate you, man.
Take care.
You too. Corbin Carroll with us. You can see him at the 3rd Annual Playmakers Classic, February 18th. Right now, you can use the code PlaymakersFT, 15% off to be there. Live performances, table games, like you mentioned, awesome food, drinks, the whole deal, and you'll see players and Hall of Famers. You're just out there at the event with them. It's casual in the right way, where you can have conversations with some of your favorite players in the sport, all for an awesome, awesome cause. Be right back. That was a good question there, Kratz, at the buzzer. That was a definitive hell yeah.
Has to. I mean, he even said, he's like, I saw kind of like a down year Soto, and I'd still move my position. It's a franchise player that wants to move his position for a future Hall of Famer. Probably top 5 best hitters in the game right now, if not top 3.
Yeah, 2023 for Soto. Down year, 930 OPS.
Oh, I'll take it.
Yeah. 2022 technically would be looked at as the down year. He had an 853 OPS.
Yeah. That was the first year in San Diego, right?
That was when he got
traded over. Yeah, that was the year
San Diego.
The next year he had a really good year. I mean, and then obviously this year he went off.
Yeah. And also when we're saying, down, quote, down year, his OPS plus when 100's league average was 147. Yeah, but it's down because 155 last year, 178 this year. In 2021, it was 175. What was the Derby year? Was that the 2022 or was that 21? Because remember, his power was down a lot. Then he did the Derby.
Because wasn't it 21? Because then he He ended up going off in the second half after the Derby.
I think so.
He won the
Because
Derby in 2022.
He won it in 23, I thought.
No.
6/22/23, he won the home run derby.
Last year? No, I think he won the 22 Derby.
23. Unless MLB.com is wrong. Oh, no, now it says 22 in
Yeah.
here. I don't know. It's weird.
22.
Well,
I think 21, though, was when he got the power back. I mean, he's done it a lot.
this must just be a
obviously.
replay.
Yeah, that's a replay. But anyway, point being, very, very good ball player. Outfielders will move positions for Juan Soto. They will
Yeah.
happily make space for him. I don't think you'd catch any player who would seriously say,
I
"Nah, I'm
would have
good."
switched positions to get Juan Soto on my team.
You'd switch out a catcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, where?
I don't know, but he
And
could have
where would
caught.
you
I would have
play?
played right field. He could have caught. I would have played right field.
What would have
That's
been your second position for you and Kratz? Obviously, Todd played multiple. What would you guys play if you weren't catching?
fine. DH.
If that doesn't count, what else? If you had to
I mean,
play
it would have
one,
been first base.
first base.
It would have been first base.
What about you, Kratz? Did you ever
I'd
get
have been
one?
mowing lawns.
Mowing lawns? Yeah.
No, I
never
had some starts at first. I played third. I started 2 games in minor leagues at third just because the manager wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah, let's charge the mound. It's doing a little late today. We had other stuff to take care of. So the Yankees win a game. All right, Top Father, you were there. First of all, you see the Freddie Freeman 2-run homer in the first inning, and you're thinking what?
Oh my God, here we go again. It's like, this is it. To be honest,
Series
with you.
over?
That was it. I thought it was in the bag. I looked to my son, my 5-year-old, and he's all dejected and everything. I'm like, oh God, they're gonna have to fight again today. This is insane. We said it before. I thought they should have just put 4 fingers up and put him on first. It would have been first and second after that. A double play could have got you out of the inning. Oh man, he is so good. He is just so good. There's not anything else you could say. He's putting on a master class of hitting. Yeah, I would roar every time I did it too. So Freddie Freeman is spectacular and most likely MVP of this series, no matter what.
How quiet did the stadium get? And do you remember hearing? Because I remember always being the visiting team and something awesome happens. You hear the different sections of where like the families got tickets and where like locals. But how quiet did the stadium get when he hit that?
It was quiet. It was that and the crowd, they try revving back up, they try, and then I think the first turning point. So I'm gonna give a little humble brag here. I was sitting next to Gary Sheffield, and we were talking before the game. Yeah, I know. I don't like doing that, but we were talking before the game. We're like, because we're into it. We're talking about the Yankees. Like, what do they have to do? I said they're going to have to put one in Freddie's ribs. They're going to have to make somebody uncomfortable. And he's like, dude, they got to knock somebody down, not try and maliciously hurt nobody, give him a bow tie, knock him down. Next thing you know, the pitch to Ohtani that went pretty much right over his head. We looked at each other and said, all right, game on. And the Dodgers hitters are so comfortable in the box. And I guess you guys can attest to this as catchers. When guys are so comfortable in the box, like there's something you got to do, knock somebody down. Not trying to, hit them, but put them in an area in the zone, in the inside where you're going to have to move them and make them uncomfortable. I think that was a starting point. We're like, all right, here we go. Like it's going to be a game. Then Freddie hits a double. And then, when Judge came up to the plate after Soto walked, the standing ovation he got, like I had goosebumps listening to it. And it was incredible, dude. And I thought that was another turning point. He ended up, I think he still did strike out if I remember, or did he walk? No, excuse me. He walked. He walked. And then, I don't think they got to run that inning. And then he found a way. Verdugo hits a ground out. They get a run. And Judge was on base 3 times. I don't care if the other one was an error. He got on base 3 times. And you think about Soto and Stanton, who's been the catalyst. 4 times. Who's been the catalyst. They were 1 for 8. And, Now it's going to show you everybody else is picking up the slack. So those two guys, not necessarily had to do something that game. Would have been great. Don't get me wrong. Soto had a double and a walk, but 1 for 8 and everybody else carried them. That's a good sign for the Yankees.
All right, so let's spin it forward. Thoughts on Game 5 and how Jack Flaherty and Garrett Cole can follow up their performances. These are two really good offenses.
Jack Flaherty won't be in that long.
Really?
Dave Roberts is going for the jugular. If he gets 3 innings and they're winning, he gone.
Okay.
In my opinion, he's going to Banda, Vesia, Kopech, Brazier, Trinan, all of them.
If he's dealing though,
he'll go. If he have to be absolutely dealing, and they'd have to have a multi-run lead. If it's 1-0 after 3 innings, Dodgers are winning. There's a good chance Flaherty's out of that game. He's not going to let what happened to him in Game 1 happen again, where Stanton hits the home run later in the game and they go behind. He's going to have to face Trinan, Brazier, whoever they bring out of the bullpen, Kopech. They're going to have to face those guys to get through it.
So it's almost like a bullpen game.
Yes. Except he's using his A guys instead of his B guys. You
have an off day tomorrow. I agree. When he faced the Mets the second time around, he got absolutely shelled. It's adjustments, and we'll see how the Yankees hitters come out and hit again. But if they do anything slightly of what they did last game, I don't see him throwing that much. But again, if history repeats himself, seeing him for the second time usually bodes well for the hitting team.
It'll be interesting to see where the computer has the lineup. If the computer has the lineup with Jazz hitting 4th, or if reality and the eye test makes the lineup and G's hitting 4th. But if you want to figure out possibly, even if he's dealing, even if Flaherty is dealing, you're looking at that Giancarlo at bat as his jumping off point, like where Dave Roberts is going to come out and get him. I don't see him letting him make a mistake with one of those sliders that he left middle in, because he hit the home run last game and he was kind of on last game. But to me, this comes down to, if he can throw his fastball for strikes, the Yankees are not swinging at the fastball. I don't understand why. I get it. Wells hit the dinger on one, which was awesome. Glaber, I think, hit now I'm forgetting if it was a fastball or not. But either way, he has to just throw fastballs for strikes, because they have not been swinging at it in these first 2 games in Yankee Stadium. So to me, I agree with AJ. I don't think he's in there very long. I don't even think Garrett's in there very long, because a lot of these guys, they come back on, back-to-back nights, but who cares? It's a World Series.
Can I ask you guys one more thing about the way the bullpen was constructed for Game 4? So you're essentially saving up / punting on your high leverage arms when you did have an early lead. And I know we talked about this a lot in the post-game show, so I encourage you to check it out. But you did have an early lead. Daniel Hudson's not in your top 5 circle of trust relievers. Why not go for the jugular in Game 4? It's too slim of a lead. Because also, even when the game ends up getting out of hand, I mean, let's say you ended up losing a close game, right? At the end, Trinan, one of your big boys, gives it up after you had a 2-1 or 3-2 lead, right? The game was different. It was constructed differently because you only used your top 5 guys to get yourself to the end there, and you lost. Then you still at least exhausted the bullpen on the other side too. Like, it's not like and now you're going up against Cole in Game 5. Cole might shove for 8 tonight, and it doesn't even matter. You can save up all your boys, but if you lose 2-1 to Cole, who cares? So you punted for a Cole game?
I don't think you should ever punt. That's why I said last night they should have started Landon Knack. And after in the postgame, I said, well, if he's going to throw 4 innings for you, why not have him throw the first 4, right? And then and then you can match it up depending on how the game's going. But the Kasparius, the guy who started, man, I mean, listen, you can never put yourself in someone's shoes and how they're feeling, but his face was so red, and it was like, I mean, his eyes were like, right? And he didn't pitch bad, 2 innings, 1 run, I know, but there was a lot of traffic, a lot of walks.
Mm-hmm.
He just kept giving the Yankees hope, right? Freddie hits a home run, they score right away. And then you got to get to Hudson in the 3rd inning, who I know is not in the circle of trust. But why not just start Landon Knack if you're going to bring him in anyways? And when they brought him in, it was the top of the order. So it was basically like he started the game. But the difference is they were already down big.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. Dave Roberts knows his team better than we all do combined. But I feel like, why not just start the starter? Like if you want to go, why not start Daniel Hudson for an inning if you feel like he's the best matchup there, and then bring in Landon next.
I think they thought Kasparius was the best matchup for the top of the order there, and that's why they went with him.
It's tough to throw a guy who's thrown like 4 innings his career.
I know.
In a game to win the World Series. I mean, he's never started a big league game. Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
Tough situation to put a kid in.
I agree. All right, well, we'll see if it bites them. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we're going to keep talking about this game. We'll keep answering questions. We've got the watch party tonight, so we'll be watching and talking the entire game. And Jesse Rogers from ESPN is joining us next. We'll see if we can sneak in some White Sox manager news at the end of his combo, but we'll get to the fan stuff again, the fan interference and the results, and them at least being suspended for one game.
Is there anybody, if the Dodgers win the series, that could take the MVP away from Freddie Freeman? Or has already got the keys to that Chevy car he's going to drive out of the stadium right to where he lives?
I think he's got the keys, AJ, don't you?
Yeah. Unless something crazy happens and the Yankees make this a 6 or 7,
Right.
Come back and make this like a 7-game series and something crazy happens. I mean, he's already putting gas in that car.
Absolutely. And my gosh, what he has done and the way he has worked to get on the field, simply to get on the field and then perform the way he has, no one can say anything but the best things about Freddie Freeman. And frankly, he's been that guy this whole career. But in this case, he's been playing with a physical ailment, a severely sprained ankle that in the first 2 rounds really compromised him. Now, he told me in the post-game interview last night that the ankle is much better and the layoff really helped him. And clearly we're seeing it. No extra base hits in the first 2 rounds. A home run in every game of the World Series so far. And if he gets one tonight, he sets the all-time record for home runs in consecutive World Series games. He's currently tied with George Springer at 5. If he gets to 6 and the Dodgers win the World Series, maybe they should give him a second card.
Does a World Series win and Freeman MVP solidify his Hall of Fame candidacy?
No, he's already going to the Hall.
He's already in. It doesn't matter.
He's got how many more years? 7 more years. He's going to get to 3,000 hits. He's going to have well over probably 400 homers.
I think he's got like 4 or 5, but whatever.
What does he need to get to? What does he need to get
he's
to?
In already. For me, he's in. He's got an MVP. He's going to have 2 World Series more than likely. World Series MVP on it. He's got batting title. Didn't he win a batting title one year? Maybe I'm wrong on that.
He might have, but I mean, just look
at
his numbers
saying,
and body work. He's got it.
He's not in today. What I'm saying is, like, he plays out his contract. What does he need to get to? What if he stops at 2,800 hits? What if he doesn't make 3,000? What if he stops at, he's got 343 homers?
He's got 61 WAR.
What are the numbers he has to get to?
61 WAR he's in right now.
Yeah.
Stop playing right now. He's in.
Aren't the numbers usually, and hey, most voters are looking at that nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in the 60s if you're in that number.
If you get to 60 WAR, you're usually auto in.
Yeah, even 50s, I think. Here we go. Jesse Rogers joining us right now. Oh, nice. What gate? What gate is that, Jesse? What number?
Oh, sorry. I'm at gate 4, the media entrance. They're about to let us in.
Nice, exactly. Okay, awesome. ESPN.
Make sure you don't have a backpack or any kind of luggage, because if you haven't pre-emailed the Yankee Stadium security force, they will not let you in. So make sure that if you have a backpack or anything, they will not let you in that stadium.
No, they won't. The Dodgers are really tight on security too. I mean, it's LA and New York, but those are probably the 2 tightest security teams I've been around throughout this postseason, at least. But you can understand why.
Yeah, hey, I respect that. I'm all about security. So on that matter, there was a security issue last night at the game that could have resulted in a broken wrist to end a dude's career. So can you tell us what you covered and what's the latest that you're hearing, not only about this game, but about the future of these 2 fans and if there's going to be an example set here?
Yeah, it was very interesting to talk to this guy at 2:30 in the morning at a bar across the street over at Billy's there. I mean, I think he's a lovable meathead. I mean, I think that's the nice version of saying it, right? And I don't want, and I know AJ and I were texting, I don't want to sound like I'm celebrating it at all. I think you can hold two thoughts, that it was like really dumb and stupid and potentially dangerous. Also, watching that slow-mo replay, I mean, I laughed several times. I mean, come on. It was freaking hilarious that someone even attempt to do that. So last night, he was good-natured about it because he said he was kicked out and, you know, they were going to let him back in tonight. But now everybody came to their senses, and the Yankees and Major League Baseball like, no, you're not getting in tonight. You've been banned. I just talked to him. He said if he tries to get in with other seats, other tickets, he'll be arrested on the spot. So he's not going to do that. He's going to watch it across the street. And in terms of his season tickets, these are family tickets. He's hoping they get to keep them. But I think that'll be an off-season question since it's the last game. But I think the biggest headline is that this guy, like, came prepared for this. Like, he talks with his buddies about moments like this. We're going to help the Yankees out. And he truly, like, he feels like his heart's in the right place. He doesn't understand that, you know, you can't interfere with the game. And so they've talked about this scenario where they will try to knock away a foul ball. I don't know about opening a guy's glove, but he went through with it. And the quotes I got from him, I just think were just amazing. Like, we're ready to D up. We're going to protect this wall. I mean, it's insane stuff. And so part of me is laughing, but part of me obviously knows you can't be doing this kind of stuff.
Okay, Jesse. So I got two questions for you. One, as our resident Cub insider and Cub specialist, what's the difference between these two fools and what Steve Bartman did? Steve Bartman didn't do anything this egregious, and his life is ruined. Yankee fans are celebrating this guy like he's the second coming because these two guys, they tried to help us win. Steve Bartman just looked up. The ball was about to land on him. Moises Alou got mad. He didn't touch Moises Alou, and his life basically was ruined, as we all know. These two guys are being celebrated and getting drinks bought for him at a bar. What's the difference?
Yeah, I was interviewing him, and people were coming up asking for autographs and pictures. It was pretty crazy. I think the difference is Bartman hurt his home team. These guys were trying to help their home team. So, yeah, Yankee fans don't care that much. Dodger fans might care. They're going to be ticked off. So that's the difference between Bartman and these two fans, helping and hurting your home team.
Okay, and then you compared these guys to Jeffrey Mayer. This is not the same thing. They actively went out of their way to grab Mookie's arm. Like, Jeffrey Mayer, did he break the rules? Yes. Was it a horrible call? Yes. Because imagine if that home run is caught by Tony Tarasco, maybe the Orioles go on a great run like the Yankees did instead. We'll never know. But Jeffrey Mayer just reached over, never touched him, brought the ball over. So, like, for me, in your article, which I read and we talked about, like, to compare these guys to Jeffrey Mayer, you got a little stretchy there, Jesse.
Yeah, we mentioned Jeffrey Mayer in the article, but I don't disagree with you that this is the most egregious thing I think I've ever seen, to be honest. I mean, maybe not. You know, we had earlier in the playoffs in San Diego a moment there, but grabbing a guy by his arm and the other guy opening the glove, that's about as egregious as you're going to find. I don't disagree with that at all.
So they had this whole plan, not to necessarily rip Mookie's arm off, but they had the plan to disrupt a fly ball caught. Had their chance. They screwed it up. They totally blew it. And I bet these were the dudes that wanted to boo Aaron Judge the whole time. So did they have a little bit of a feeling like, man, I let my team down? Or were they just high on their horse?
No, I mean, they feel like they helped their team, even though it didn't work. You're right. They're trying to help their team. And look, if they somehow come back and win tonight and maybe the next, like, he's going to start taking victory laps. Like, this was the karma I brought this team. So, you know, like I said, kind of a lovable meathead about it. I don't think he understood the ramifications, though, right, of grabbing a player. I will say, I think he left in a polite manner, and that helped his cause. Like, he didn't argue with anybody. He didn't fight the security guards. That probably helped his cause a little bit. But, you know, there was no way he was getting back in this game tonight, even though he was told last night he would be.
Okay, the last thing for me on this, and I've said my feelings, and you and I have talked, Jesse, already, and we've already talked about this twice now, post-game and today. The league has to be proactive on this. That's more important. Yes, thank God nobody got hurt. Thank God that Mookie's fine. But you can't set a precedent where you grab somebody by the arm, you grab a player, and then, oh, by the way, you're welcome back to a standing ovation. Because you know darn well, if those two guys walked into this game in the top of the first inning, the whole right field stands, the whole creatures out there in right field, they're all going to give them a standing ovation, right? So the league, I feel like, did the right thing. You can't set a precedent where it's okay to touch players, where it's okay to run on the field, and it's okay to throw stuff on the field. I mean, only one thing obviously happened in this situation, but I'm all for being proactive to stop this stuff, nip it in the bud.
Yeah, no, I think everybody understands that. I kind of wonder why it wasn't like last night. Look, Eastern time, it's 2 a.m. when all the post-game stuff is happening. So maybe they just wanted to address it today. But like mid-game, they could have put out a statement, this guy's not allowed back in. So I feel like maybe they were a little bit slow on it. Who knows? But the bottom line is they got to it and they're banned. And he's a little worried about his season tickets. These are family season tickets. They're not, I think they might be in his brother's name. And so he's worried about the future. But yeah, you've got to draw that line. I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
Let me ask you this. So you talk about season tickets. Like, are you one of those guys that think he should be banned for life and they should never come back to Yankee Stadium?
Oh, banned for life is such an aggressive phrase. I mean,
well, let me explain. I don't think he should be, in my opinion.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know there's some guidelines there. It might be a little ambiguous, like written guidelines from the Yankees, that it might be a little ambiguous about what exactly gets you banned. I mean, in some ways, if it's not that, what exactly? I mean, I guess they didn't jump on the field, but touching players. I mean, it's a foul ball, interfering with a player in a foul ball. Maybe that doesn't get you banned for life, but boy, you definitely got to get that slap on the wrist. So I'm sort of with you, maybe not for life, but as he put it, a short amount of time, it might be. The key is whatever it is, it's got to be a deterrent. So maybe it can't be one game, but it shouldn't be life. It shouldn't be life either. Somewhere in between.
Yeah, also, I just want to be clear. I mean, he's reaching in the field of play and then grabbing the glove and then holding for debate. We had a debate about how many seconds, but holding for multiple seconds. My thing is one game enough? Because I feel as if one game is nothing. And unless someone like that is banned for life, because let's be real, you going for a ball, that's fine. But when you're now holding a player's wrist up like that for multiple seconds, I don't care if you didn't intend to hurt him. You could hurt the player badly, right? You could end a player's career like that. So I'm curious how, say the union and other players wouldn't be talking behind the scenes like, example has to be set here. This is never allowed, or this could be so much worse. You're also influencing tons of kids, most of who are never going to be a big leaguer, to say, oh, well, I know how I can impact the game. I can sit near anywhere that I can make contact with a player and try and screw with him. Yeah,
I mean, this was premeditated. They admitted that. So I think you're on the right page. Like, it's got to be a little bit harsh, but certainly maybe not for life. I mean, this is the last home game of the year, so we'll see how this carries over. I think it's going to be investigated in the off season a little bit more. Not that it needs much investigation, but they admitted that it was somewhat premeditated. So they're going to get slapped down a little bit here, but you just hope it doesn't set an example for other people to do it. And it's the opposite. It sets an example not to do it.
I know what I'm going with it for his Halloween now. That fool that has his sunglasses on at night, it's like, look, he was on the line. Look, I was over the line. Like, I mean, come on. Like, that's going to be the #1 Halloween costume in New York. All right, so I got to go. We got to move on from this because otherwise we're going to have too many arguments and too many differing opinions. But as the resident Chicago ESPN Cub homer, how do you let Scott Merkin scoop you on Will Venable? And how did Scott Merkin scoop you, Jesse? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Scott's good at his job. Passon and I were hearing it before the game yesterday, but we just didn't have it completely nailed, and we're both covering this game. And I actually wrote the story in the second or third inning and then just, saved it until this all went down. So it was all leaking yesterday is the point. It was all kind of leaking yesterday. And I was in line to go into the Yankees clubhouse when I had to run back up and file the story. So I don't care about who beat who. I do like Will Venable. I've known him a long time, so maybe I'm a little biased. You get to know someone. But everyone I talk to says he's so smart. He's a good listener. All the qualities you'd want. But look, JJ, you guys all know, you can have all the qualities in the world, but until you're the lead guy and actually doing the job, we have no idea how you're going to be without a resume of managing behind you. So he's got the qualities. Now let's see what he can do with it.
Yeah, we covered it. We did a show on the breaking news last night. I wanted to make sure I pointed out that I was impressed with the fact that Jerry Reinsdorf, because we know he's part of the decision-making, said, let's go outside the organization.
Yeah.
Let's get someone from a winning org who's part of a very fresh, recent winning organization. He's talking to and learning from Chris Young and Bruce Bochy. I mean, that alone, I think, says a lot about where the organization is at. So do you think that we are finally starting to turn a page and not everything has to come within, and the White Sox are accepting that they need to get with the times?
Yeah, I think Chris Getz realized that when he was hiring guys like Josh Barfield from Arizona and bringing in Gene Watson and, guys like that. Granted, Getz is a Sox guy, but the hires he's made has been outside the organization. And the wide net he threw out there for this managerial search, I think, is an indication of some of that as well. You learn stuff from people. You interview Clayton McCullough from the Dodgers, A.J. Ellis from the Padres. These are winning organizations. You can pick up some things. So I think about the Cubs when they hired David Ross. They interviewed Joe Espada. They had no intention of hiring Joe Espada, but they wanted to glean some things from the Houston Astros. So I'm hoping Getz did that for the fans' sake. We'll find out in the presser, what did you learn from all these interviews and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's so early and it was so bad. It can only go up, but we have a long way to go to say, oh, this is on a successful path right now. It's still at the early stages.
Because the organization hasn't, quote unquote, commented on this because it's still a World Series going on. I'm sure there's a little gag order type of thing that has to happen.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea who the final 3 guys were? And do we have any idea how many candidates there were, since we know AJ was not because he's hoping to get the Cubs job after Council's
You hear that fake laugh? There was about a dozen ultimately. I do think AJ Ellis was one of those guys at the end, but he actually pulled out for family considerations. Craig Albernaz from Cleveland, absolutely, and he still might be up for the Miami job. So Albernaz, Grady Sizemore was in the mix the whole time. AJ Ellis, I would say those were within that group there that were down towards the end. I'm not positive. And then some of those other names I mentioned earlier. So, I think Venable's a good choice. I really do.
You forgot my boy Filthy Phil Nevin there, Jesse. So let's not sell anybody short. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know Phil very well. I didn't follow that angle of it, but I people say that he'd be a good choice as well.
Yes, agreed. Phil would have been awesome. He's been with young players. But let me the last thing from us, Jesse, before we let you go, is how serious are these Jerry selling the team things that we're hearing about? Because people are giving different reports that he's selling it, he's not selling it, he's moving to Nashville, he wants a new stadium, this, that. But I always say everything is for sale if you get the right price. If the team's worth $1.5 billion and someone comes to him and says, I'll give you $3 billion, guess what he's doing? Right, he's cashing out, right? But yeah, I don't see him doing this unless he gets blown away.
No, I think you're on the right track. The day it broke, someone asked me on the radio, do you think this is happening? I said, do I think he's selling and the team's moving to Nashville? No. Is some morsel of truth in the report? Yeah. Possible? Yes. And I think you're right. We've seen this with the Angels, with the Nationals. You dip your feet in the water a little bit, see what's out there, see what other people value the franchise, and then you pull back. And I think that's what we're going to end up seeing here. I don't think he heard over $2 billion, for example, and so he's looking into it a little bit. How could he not? He's 88. The team's at its worst. You got to you're going to look into it a little bit at least. But I think he's going to pull back and end up keeping it for the time being at least.
Jesse, be careful over there.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's how I got distracted because I'm about to get mugged here.
I feel
At least it'll be on live TV.
Yeah.
That is not the guy
that you're fine.
That's not the guy that interfered with the ball. I can tell you that. It sounds like him now.
He better not be around. He better not be on the grounds tonight. Like you said, he's getting arrested.
Jesse, go put that guy on the show. He deserves his shining moment, too.
Well, thanks for stopping by, as always, of course, Jesse. Check out all his work on ESPN.com right now. We'll post some of these on Twitter as well. And enjoy the game tonight.
You got it, guys. Be well. Good seeing you.
Appreciate you. Good to see you, too. Thanks, Jesse. Jesse Rogers from ESPN. We're coming back soon. Are you guys dressing up for Halloween? I know Kratz is. And Todd, I know you are, but you're not on the show Thursday, but you're dressing up, Todd, right? Who are you being? I think you told me the other day.
Freddy Krueger. So in Tom's River, we have a monster parade. So today is trick-or-treating for us. But I'll dress up tomorrow, not today. It's a monster trick-or-treating day, and then everybody goes to the parade, even though I haven't been there in years.
But you're going.
Not mischief night? You guys don't do mischief night in Tom's River?
That was last night.
Yeah.
Was it serious? Because it used to be the night before Halloween was mischief night. Is it seriously 2 nights before or no?
Yeah, it is. They do it last night because we celebrate it today.
Yeah.
Kratz,
Yeah,
are you not telling us?
We escaped through it. We're good.
Kratz, you're not
Okay,
telling
you
us
didn't
what you're doing, right?
I'll send a picture in.
Wait, are you dressing up on the show tomorrow, or are you dressing
That's
up?
what I'm
for, like-
asking. That's why I
I'm not
want
dressing up. I dress up every day
On
as
the
a
show?
clown.
This
You're not
mask,
dressing up on the
this
show?
mask is already scary enough. It's no Freddy Krueger, but it's up there.
People were asking us if we were going to dress up on the show.
I think Scott should definitely dress up.
So we didn't do it last year. I'm not a big Halloween guy, but I wanted to check with my friends if you guys were going to do it, because if you guys were doing
If we
something,
do it,
I wore
I'll do it.
orange multiple times this week. I'll do it. I've got a couple things in mind that are at home that I can bring.
Okay.
So
I mean,
like
I can put
AJ.
a hoodie on. I'll dress up as that
Do
douche
something.
nozzle that was sunglass guy.
I'll do
That's
it.
good. Yeah, wear sunglasses tomorrow. All right, cool. We're all doing it then. I'm dressing up
Do
tomorrow.
I have a Yankees jersey though? That's the question. I don't think I have a Yankees jersey.
Do you have a clown jersey?
Oh,
No, I don't have a.
you were
clown
born
jersey.
in New
I'm
York.
saying those guys are clowns.
That doesn't mean I have a Yankee
You're
jersey
born in
hanging
New
on my wall. But I don't have a Yankee jersey. Like maybe I do sitting around somewhere. I have to look.
Wear your Mo
Okay,
jersey.
so-
I'm sure you have a Mo jersey.
It's hanging. It's actually hanging. Good story in my house. You've
Take
never
it
been
out.
here. Scott's been here. But in my bathroom is like Mattingly, Mariano, and I think maybe one other Yankee sign. And the guy who hung the jerseys was a Red Sox fan, so he purposely put like Yankee jerseys in the bathroom.
I have a Aroldis Chapman jersey hanging in my bathroom because I pissed all over him whenever I would hit. So awesome. So
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
Wow. Okay.
We went there. Lastly, you got 30 seconds. What do you think is going to be the most popular baseball-themed costume? I'm getting a lot of answers.
go ahead.
Grimace.
Judge or Shohei?
Grimace.
Sandlot.
Grimace. No, Grimace lost, bro. Grimace is out.
Hey, there's a newsletter 3 times a week. It's called FT Leadoff. Go check it out. Scan the QR code on the screen. Support FT any way that you'd like. We've got all the social handles cranking. Actually, one of our TikToks posted, I'm sure you know which one it is, was going off this morning. And follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Give us a little subscribe wherever you get your podcasts as well. All right, so here we go. More on Game 5 coming up here. Where are we at on Judge? We talked about it a little bit last night. I saw a Yankee fan, friend of mine, when I was going back into my building last night, who's a big FT fan. So what's up? But he said, he's like, oh, there's momentum here now. They were able to beat up on some of the, yes, B and C list Dodgers pitching towards the finish line. But Judge specifically keeps looking like he's getting into a little bit of a better place. Does it work like that, Todd Father, where, okay, now he's spitting at some pitches that he was swinging at and chasing, he's working some walks, had a nice knock late. Does that give you progress towards where he's at? Or he could run into dudes that have sick breaking balls again, and he could be back to square one from a few days ago?
Yeah, I think it's increments of doing good things. And it doesn't have to be the home run, a little increment of a walk, getting a knock and an RBI, getting on base on an error. Even though it's an offer, it's in the idea of having him on base. And you see what happens when he's on base. 11 runs. I'm not saying he's the sole purpose, but he makes everybody else around him better. And it takes pressure off guys like Stanton and Soto not having to hit the big homer all the time, knowing that they could take a walk too or hit a base hit and you see guys like Anthony Volpe step up to have, his most memorable game out there for sure. And, Jersey boy coming through. That's what everybody was talking about last night. Look at this guy, from the Northeast hitting a grand slam in the World Series. That's something, whether they win or lose, that's something he'll never forget. And that's a memory of a lifetime for sure.
That's true. And his family, they're legit diehard fans. Like, they're at the parades, they're at the games. I think there was one quote from a story where they were like, Yankees in the World Series alone, and we're freaking out. They were like, our son in the World Series for the Yankees and now hitting a grand slam. That's freaking awesome. Like, these are real diehard fans where, everyone knows those baseball fans. They're only talking about their team 24/7. Every small talk is about their ball club. That's the Volpes. That's cool.
It's great. It's a great moment. Great moment. Then you got this picture right here with Jeter, which I thought was awesome because that was his guy. Growing up, he had pictures of Jeter, and then I'm sure he has met Jeter before, but then you get that picture after hitting a grand slam. Pretty, it's storybook stuff. Much like Freddie Freeman hitting the walk-off grand slam in Game 1, because everyone dreams about it. Bases loaded, bottom of the ninth. It was bottom of the 10th, I know, but grand slam to win the World Series game. For Anthony Volpe to hit a grand slam in the World Series for the team that he idolized growing up, and getting then to see the guy who was his guy growing up, it's storybook stuff, man.
You think Volpe has met Jeter? Because when he got drafted, Jeter was already with the Marlins. And I know there's a picture of him when he was a kid. But I'm saying since he was drafted, has he met Jeter? Have you guys seen anything that he's actually met him?
Yes, because I know they were there for Fox when the Dodgers played the Yankees earlier in the year. I guarantee you they probably met each other.
Early in the season. Okay.
I mean, I'm guaranteed in the last 2 years, Derek Jeter has been at Yankee Stadium and gone in the clubhouse and talked to some of these guys.
Yeah. It's cool.
Okay,
did you guys meet your hero growing up?
What?
Did you guys meet your favorite player growing up? Like, at what time did you meet how early in your career did you meet him? Because mine was Mike Schmidt. I got to lift weights with Mike Schmidt in 2011 spring training. For me, that was freaking awesome.
That's cool. Who was yours?
Yeah, mine was Dale Murphy. And I didn't meet him until I was in my 2015, my next to last year.
When you were
in spring training with the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
He came up, my son was with me, and I got introduced to him, and I was like, my son's like, who is that?
And I've heard
speaking of guys that should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Dale Murphy.
Dale Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame. But
they say don't meet your heroes. I heard.
Dude, Dale Murphy's like, I'll still text Dale Murphy this day, and he gets right back to me and is the nicest guy on the planet.
Yeah,
like
awesome.
The nicest guy in the world.
Todd, was Jeter your guy growing up?
No, it was Paul O'Neill, and I met him when one of the first couple home games when I was with the Yankees. I was like, this is pretty cool, man. He looks like he can still play, dude. You see, I hate to bring it up. He threw out the first pitch yesterday. Anybody see that?
Oh, we saw. We didn't get to it yet.
And I saw A.J. Burnett, like in the 8th inning. I said, A.J., what the heck? We were both laughing. He threw it over A.J. Burnett's head. Then he asked for a redo. The crowd went nuts, and then he spiked it. I'm like, oh, Paul, that's double whammy. I'm like, oh, goodness gracious.
Paul roided out. Paul looking like he's lifting mid-game.
Oh, he's jacked.
Wait, let's go over this. Back to Jeter for a moment, because obviously he's doing post-game for Fox, and he was pretty angry about Cole getting removed after 88 pitches in Game 1. So he said Cole was dominating this game. If you take him out after 88 pitches for I don't know what reason, it's a domino effect on not only this game tonight, tomorrow's game, and the rest of the series. I just think when you have someone that's dealing like Cole, you leave him out there as long as you can. Now, Joe Girardi responded to a point, or just gave his take on what he saw. He said through the first 5 innings, 9 outs on his four-seamer, whether they were pop-outs or strikeouts. He said in the 6th inning, Cole's four-seamer was caught up to by Tommy Edman, and in the 7th, Teoscar Hernandez hit one. I think that's why Aaron probably went to get him, because all of a sudden he wasn't getting outs with his four-seamer. So this is very relevant. We didn't get to this a ton after Game 1. We're not going over every person's take, but those are 2 pretty relevant takes, Yankee-wise. And here we are again, Game 5. So do we feel like he got pulled too early in that case? And do we feel like they should keep this in mind this time around?
I already said he did. I already said they did at 88. I mean, we said it. I said it I've been
I
saying
know,
that for a
but
couple
now
days.
the series is back to the game one
But
starter.
I think tonight he goes 100 if he's dealing. I think Booney is going
Why
to go
not
100. A
115?
lot of their higher bullpen guys last start of the year. A lot of his higher end bullpen guys had to pitch last night. So yeah, you let him. You ride with your horse, boy.
And if not that, just give him another batter. Give him another batter at least. If you didn't get the next guy out, then maybe you have a case for it. Maybe. You know what I mean? Like, what happens if that guy grounds out, double play? What happens if, he gets the next three guys out? You got to give him at least another batter, man. That was the biggest thing. Excuse me, my mic was down. No, you got to give him another. You got to give him another batter for sure. Give him another batter.
So you got to go batter to batter after someone else is on if you're in that point in the game.
Yeah, if he gets another guy on, like I was trying to say before, maybe you start thinking about it. But yeah, for sure, leave him in.
Kratz, you're last. What are you doing?
Exactly what Todd said. Batter to batter, he can't lose the game for you. I don't think that's any different than how anybody's ever done it. There's a runner on, he lets a runner on, whether it's fair or unfair. Like I felt Joe Madden back in 2016 made the moves too fast. And we asked him about it when he came on the show. In the moment, you have to read the situation. So if Booney did exactly what Girardi was saying, if you're reading it in game like that, then he took him out at the exact right time. Because you're reading how they're hitting his pitches and not just reading your script. So that's where it has to be. And if he's getting the outs by the third time through, he is batter to batter to me up until you're still winning the game. So if it's 3-0, a runner gets on, he still gets one more batter. 2 runners get on, he's out.
And also, to me, I mean, it's a non-story if maybe Tim Hill's in the game. Sure, Tim Hill might have given up a double or something. It doesn't matter. We never would know. But
ground ball.
They put themselves in a position to win up until the very end of the game. Right, could have been a ground ball. So just keeping that in mind as well. I think that was the main mistake that we pointed out from game one. But anyway, we're going to be all over it for tonight's game. So have a look at the little video put together by Derek and friends behind the scenes on the the prior watch party that we did. And that's what we'll bring to the table here for game 5. We'll watch that. We'll go into break and then we'll get ready for Karl Ravech from ESPN joining us soon too.
He doesn't want Yaya.
Whoa, Giancarlo.
Doing machine BP that day, he hit one like over the batter's eye in center field, and I'm just sitting there like what was that?
Like on principle, you're just asking teams to try less hard to win.
I think that's stupid.
If the fastball starts at your waist, it's actually at your face.
Well, I ended up with this thing, so obviously it didn't work on my part. I don't think so. I legitimately, you're either going to break down or you're not, and that's something that I truly genuinely believe in, because I remember when Tim Lincecum and I came up, we were in the same draft, and they're like, well, he's going to blow out. Well, 2 Cy Youngs later, he never blew out. And, then you've got perfect mechanics in Steven Strasburg, and, he didn't pitch. And I mean, obviously he had a great start to early in his career, but continued to break down. Mark Pryor was another one where they said had perfect mechanics, and we've seen what happened there. So if you're going to break down, you're going to break down. I honestly, I get workload and I get certain aspects of it, but I don't necessarily agree with certain rules per se. I think it's everybody's different, and I think you handle it on an individual basis and not in the way of, okay, we're going to set these rules for, A, B, and C or what have you. But from everything, and obviously being a fan of baseball longer than I've ever played, I don't really think it's really, truly, genuinely ever worked in a great way, because the consistency and what have you isn't there. And it doesn't make sense to me. When you set these, it's like, okay, well, you're only going to be able to throw 140 innings. So how do we manage that? And then it's like, okay, you're going to pitch once every 10 days, then you're going to pitch every 5 days. And then it's like, okay, if you pitch 1 inning, you get a day off. If you pitch 2 innings, you get 2 days off. Like, it was just, for me, it was the back and forth is what got me. Like, there was really, truly, genuinely no consistency until I moved to the bullpen, permanently. And that was, 4 years in. And so, that for me was probably the biggest thing in the consistency of, just having a routine and understanding, to listen to your body, because when you're going back and forth, sometimes it's hard. And you guys know as catchers, definitely, it's a grind for you guys. And, you have to listen to your body at times. And, if you're bouncing back and forth and you don't know, it's like, okay, do I push a little bit more in the weight room today because I got an extra day? Or, hey, do I just chill, lay low and get my running in or whatever? So it was just the inconsistency for me that bothered me so much.
Here we go. FT fam, we're back. We're going to talk to Karl Ravech coming up in just a few minutes here on FT as we get ready for a game 5. And then, hey, things continue. We're going back to Los Angeles to keep the series going. So I want to talk biz for a moment. I was reading some articles last night about how a sweep would have been bad for business.
Not bad. I don't think bad is the right word. It's a break even.
Oh, right. I know, but bad for business as in, and I'm not even just talking about Fox, I'm talking about MLB, everything else. Like, you have this moment, right, where you get these two huge markets, big superstars. It's a matchup that many people are excited about, and the ratings are showing that. What if it did end in a sweep? It didn't happen.
Sucked.
It would have sucked. For
Listen,
most fans that aren't a fan of one of those teams.
2-2 right now. Think about the different coverage of this series.
Yeah.
Now think also if the Yankees win tonight.
Then it
The
starts to
pressure
amplify.
completely flips,
Mm-hmm.
right? All the pressure goes on the Dodgers, right? Because all of a sudden, guess what starts getting in your ear? 20-year anniversary of the Red Sox against the Yankees. Yankees trying to flip the script. Ooh, it's Halloween. It's getting spooky. Claudia can play some crazy music, right? Ooh, right? But whatever. I mean, I'm serious. Like, it's good for baseball. I don't care what people say if the best two teams play each other in the World Series.
I asked a question to someone. I'll start with you, Kratz. Someone was asking me, I had a call yesterday with someone, and they were like, bummer that the series hasn't been great so far. This was before last night's game. They didn't mean game by game. Obviously, game 1 was amazing. It was a really fun, entertaining game to watch. But they were like, oh, bummer that it could end in 4 games. I said, would you rather have, for baseball and business purposes, take everything else out of it for a moment? You wanted Yankees-Dodgers. I'm like, you didn't say it had to go 7, so would you rather have, and for business purposes, would you rather have Yankees-Dodgers if you're running the league and all you care about is money for 4 games? Or I'll just pick Guardians-Brewers for 6 games.
Hey, Guardians-Brewers just catching strays from Scott Braun. That's at Scott Braun on X. No, you want business-wise, you want the Yankees and Dodgers. There's no doubt. Japan ain't watching the MKE facing off against Cleveland. There ain't no way they want to see Milwaukee versus the Guardians. Like, that's the reality of it. So, yes, business-wise, you won 4 games, even though you make a little more in a 7-game, a lot more. In a 7-game series, yes. But here's your conspiracy theory. Maybe they wanted these 2 teams so that baseball would then – fans would get in an uproar, and then Major League Baseball can get their salary cap that they want.
No, that's deep. You think they conspired to get these two teams matching up? What?
I'm so
And then put
like
crappy
that is so
umpires
deep.
in
That
too?
is like we're not doing in the weeds, but that is so far in the
There's
weeds.
something
Like we've
going
lost.
on in his cauldron over there.
We've lost. I mean, the plot. We forget the plot. We've lost all of it. We've lost the planet right now. What? They wanted him to get a salary cap? No, they wanted it so people will tune in and watch. Kratz, you've got some of the greatest ratings of going on in forever right now. Not of all time, but forever happening right now. That's what they wanted. That's what everybody wanted. They want people to tune in. Everyone's talking about this series, which is what baseball needs. They need underdog story. Yeah, it's cool and great and all, but listen, they got the two biggest markets playing in a World Series. It's the dream matchup, and it's been a long time.
Agreed. Todd Father for business.
Not even for business. It's business for sure. But I think everybody likes that East meets West matchup. I feel like everybody in the West, it's the Dodgers, and everybody in the East. At the end of the day, it always comes down to what the Yankees are doing. So to see this happening every once in a while is really good for baseball.
Yeah, I'll reiterate, it's rare. We haven't seen this in, what do they keep saying, 40-something years? Because they've been doing a lot of history stuff on Fox during the game.
43.
Last matchup was 43 years ago.
81, wasn't it? 81?
81.
Yep.
Yeah, so you've got a pretty large chunk of fans that were not around or were really young during that time period. I'm talking to Karl Ravech in just a moment, so if anyone has questions for him, you can load them up. I'll go check them out while I can. And any other game situation questions, because we've gotten some good ones. I'll bring up one quick just for now. Chris, who was on the money yesterday about how he really felt like the Dodgers were going to punt in most situations with their bullpen yesterday. He said the Dodgers were blasting Cole to the warning track in L.A. Do you think the Yankees' short porch is a factor here?
It's always a factor.
Yeah, I think it always
can't
is.
say.
It created a Will Smith homer yesterday.
It did. Yankee Stadium. Dodger Stadium. The ball jumps. I think we showed the graphic the other day. It's like the Great American Small Park in Cincinnati, and then it's Dodger Stadium and Yankee Stadium that give up the most homers. So I think obviously they showed the Will Smith home run, and then they put the blue fence where it would have been if it was Dodger Stadium. A lot goes into it. But the smallest part of Yankee Stadium is not directly down the line. Anybody that's ever played at the new Yankee Stadium will tell you it's over the scoreboard, right in right field there. That is the tiniest. To me, I think that's the tiniest part of any ballpark in all of Major League Baseball. Because then once it gets to the bullpen, it gets bigger. But bullpen to the end of that scoreboard, it is teeny, teeny, tiny.
Only place I ever hit a home run where I broke my bat.
Yanks?
New Yankee Stadium. Broke my bat. When like the 10th row, I was like, man, I want to hit it this place every day.
Pulled it to
right field. Like kind of where Kratz is talking about. Like not like right field corner, but kind of like just over the right fielder's head by that little scoreboard. Bat cracked, 10 rows deep. I was like, I love this place.
Would have hit more.
I did that in Minnesota.
Whoa. Is that Kratz? Getting a little crazy crackly there. Hold on. Kratz, we're going to reset you. You sounded like you were celebrating Halloween a day too early. All right, let's get to our next guest right now. Karl Ravech from ESPN joining us to talk World Series. Karl, great to have you on. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you again. And actually, I'll start here. How good is this series for the business of baseball in your mind, and just the growth of baseball's popularity around the globe?
Great going in, and now starting to grow again. 3-0 deficit doesn't help anybody. But look, maybe it turned last night. Maybe this is one of those years where the Yankees have done to them what the Red Sox did. Clearly having the two biggest names in the game is enormous. Just an example of how big Ohtani is, and this is something that we hear about in Japan, and we were lucky enough to go to South Korea when this whole thing started. But prior to this series, after he got hurt, there was a question of, like, is he going to play? is he going to be available? And oddly, the backstory of how I reached out to Dave Roberts was Adam Schefter, our NFL expert, rolled into our green room and said that I heard Ohtani's out for the year. And I'm like, where'd you hear that? And then through whatever channels he uses and doctors and different people that have opinions, he had read or heard that this was torn labrum and he's done. So I said, I got to check. I don't know. And then I just reached out to Doc and said, I'm hearing this based on some of these reports. Is he done for the year? And he reached out and said, no, he's doing great and he's going to play. And I said, okay. And then I reached out to our news desk and I said, you guys have the Ohtani news, right? He's playing. And they said, no one's heard. So the point is that 2 million people viewed that one X post, which never happens. But it shows, to your point, how massive this World Series and the individuals in it can have appeal in obviously more than one country. So you have the both coasts, you have the best two players, and you have Ohtani, who's a global guy. So that's that shows how big it can be. And again, you go 5-6 games, Yankees win tonight, I think everybody tunes back in. I have no idea what the rating was last night. I would imagine it's down. I think historically, fans after a 3-0 deficit, it's almost like you got to open the door and invite them back in. Like no. The food is still here. There's still more beer. Come on in. We're not done yet.
And that goes to show you about communication. If one person, you got to make sure you back up everything you hear. You don't want to be that guy sending some stuff out. They'd be like,
That's
"Come
right.
on, man, what's going on here?" You're in the studio right now, aren't you?
Yeah, we got a couple of big Baseball Tonight shows. One's at 5, one's at 7. Your guy, what's the count? 2 and 2. Tim Kirk's
And that's
here
what I
as
was
well.
going to say. Are the Yankees going to make it 2-2 after tonight? What do you think? What do you got in your mind?
Yeah, I don't know. This whole thing, baseball is the most impossible sport to bet on. It's the most impossible sport to predict. The idea that I don't think I was alone in suggesting advantage Yankees starting pitching going in, because I think it wasn't a question of is Flaherty or is Yamamoto or Buehler lesser than the Yankees options. It was this season they've been banged up. Like there was an uncertainty about them where it felt like there was more of a sure thing in Cole and in Rodon and even in Clark Schmidt. Like, you knew they were going to post. You figured they were going to give you some length. And when those other guys were healthy, Flaherty was really good. Yamamoto was dynamite. And obviously, what we saw with Buehler, it felt like we were back watching college baseball in Nashville. I mean, his fastball had Roy Oswalt type ride to it. And those three, when they're right, match up with the Yankees. But that wasn't the feeling going in. So I don't know. Sure, Garrett Cole feels like there's an edge over Flaherty on regular rest when the last time he got lit up a little bit. But I'm not. I'm gonna hang on to the house, and other things. I'm not betting any of it.
So Karl, I have a question for you about yesterday's game and also just the philosophy with the way that the Dodgers have handled not having a fourth starter and going with the bullpen game action here. So, okay, they look at yesterday's game. We're up 3-0 against the Yanks, and we're in the midst of 3 in a row here at Yankee Stadium. It sounded like we got hints of Doc Roberts and company looking at many scenarios and saying, unless we're really in command of this game, we are not going to pitch our high leverage guys. So the word punting comes to mind, and that's what gets brought up. Got brought up last series too, right? In I think 2 of the games against the Mets. So did you feel that when you watched the game? Like, for example, do you feel like when Daniel Hudson's struggling in the third, they should swap him out and bring in one of their top 5? Because he's not in their top 5 right now, and they didn't use any of those guys.
Right. That's a really hard question. And imagine if we bring in the guys here and you're a position player and you're doing everything you can to get your ass out on that field and you hear the word punting or it's associated with it. I think that you guys, Kratzy and AJ and Frazier have a better understanding. I heard John Smoltz this morning talking about, no, you don't chase wins. And I've heard Robert say that. I've heard them all say, we don't chase wins. But there is a not so subtle, not so subliminal message like we know you're out there, and if things really go our way, then we're going to pivot and go this way. And Kasparius and Knack they kept him in the game. I find it a very, very fine line, and I think the players seem to have a better understanding of how this works. And again, if in fact there was punting going on, or the last inning, we don't feel like it's our game, and if they add on, and does 11-5 make any difference? Then 7-5. But it's a difficult message, Bronny, for me to have to absorb if I'm a competitor. Like, look, they have their ace, and we don't really compete, so let's wait till tomorrow. It's a real hard one, but I don't think that's really what's going on, and yet it's certainly implied or suggested. And you tell me as players on this, how you feel when you know it's a bullpen game, which I think to the average fan means they're kind of giving this one, they're punting. They're allowing the other team a much better chance so they can fight tomorrow and fight the next day. And in a sense, have 3 games to win one as opposed to just this one game to win them all. But it's a weird message. Let's see what AJ. What do you think? How do you handle that?
Listen, you chase every win. It's the World Series. You try to get this over with as soon as possible. You don't want to give the other team any hope. Bury them. Like, you're up 3-0, you go for the jugular. You go for the kill shot right there. And I think Dave Roberts, the way he played it like, well, we're going to kind of see what happens. And if we don't win this game, we got 3 more shots. You don't want to have it get back to L.A. I know Cole's pitching tonight, because if it goes back to L.A., all the pressure goes back on the Dodgers. I mean, it is like you were up 3-0, and all of a sudden now, wait, we're back in L.A.? What is happening? It's a different thing. And then the fans in L.A. are all nervous, like the Yankee fans were last night and will be tonight, because it just flips. So to me, you go for the jugular when you can. Now, I got 2 quick things for you, Carl. One, tell Schefter, stick to football, okay? He's not a baseball reporter, okay? You got your little niche over there at ESPN, okay?
It's a pretty good niche, too, by the way. He's got a good niche.
It's a pretty good niche, yeah. You don't need to be cross-pollinating, okay? Let's not cross-pollinate. It'd be like you going over there and calling an NFL Monday night game and telling Joe Buck to hit the bricks, right? Let's let Tim Kirchin passing. We'll handle baseball, okay, Adam? You stick to football. Now, the other thing is, you were talking about betting earlier. Does Freddie Freeman hit a homer tonight? And if so, how much should I lay on it?
Yeah, why wouldn't he? I mean, you hear name Bonds and Reggie Jackson. Why the hell wouldn't he hit a homer? That's all he does is hit home runs. And I heard Jess Mendoza was doing the game for us on the radio. Obviously, Freddie likes to go up the middle and to left center field when he's feeling right. Instead, apparently yesterday, because maybe of his ankle, he's trying to stand up more upright. And again, here's another question for you guys as hitters, and even as a catcher. He's trying to stand more upright, which would allow him to pull the ball. And I don't know if this is an adjustment for Yankee Stadium. It's a concession to that right ankle. But he wanted to stand up more to give him the ability to pull the baseball, which is exactly at Yankee Stadium what a left-handed hitter wants to do. And it's what Gleyber Torres wants to do as a right-handed hitter. Those home runs last night were great. They're not home runs at Dodger Stadium, but a couple of them are only home runs there at Yankee Stadium. So there was some effort. I don't know why with first base open they didn't pitch more carefully to Freddie Freeman, because, it feels like we'll see another home run tonight, which would make it 7 consecutive World Series games, and records will be broken. Yeah,
Would that be the craziest performance that you've ever seen in all your years of watching World Series baseball?
Yeah.
Is that top 3?
Well, yeah. What he's doing, this is silliness. This is Frazier in a home run derby. I mean, he's playing home run derby, in a World Series game. It doesn't make sense. Look, the most amazing thing that I ever saw was the Barry Bonds year, or multiple years, but it was the Barry Bonds year. When you're doing baseball tonight and the Giants games are starting late, it gave you something to watch, and rarely, if ever, did he individually disappoint you. And that's what I think I fell back on watching the Soto at bat in Cleveland with all the foul balls. Ultimately, you're sucking the pitcher to throw a baseball in a place that this guy's going to be able to do damage, and then he did damage. Barry did it like 73 times. That was just mind blowing that this can happen, because every professional athlete who ever played baseball, relative to their own sport, will tell you the hardest thing in sports is hitting a baseball, and it gets harder and harder now with the pitchers and the specialty and the bullpen. It's impossible, and he's done it every game. It defies logic for a guy who was Willis Reed and Kirk Gibson. Like he couldn't walk. This is a little Max Scherzer back in 19 when he couldn't get out of bed, and then 2 nights later he's pitching in a World Series. Whatever it is you all use in those locker rooms to get yourself healthy and right and ready, you defy the odds, and Freeman's doing that right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, enjoy it, Karl. Thanks for swinging by. Enjoy this Game 5. We'll see if it continues, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, Scott. Good to be on with you guys. Love you guys. Take care.
Yeah, love you too. Great to have you on. Great to check out ESPN's coverage too with Karl Ravech and company all over the World Series. Be right back. BetMGM locks. First, we're looking back to yesterday, and then during the next break here for the YouTube crowd, we will check out what we're going with this evening. Muncy didn't get it done again. He might have to come on the show, actually, to break that.
Please.
Remember last time?
Hopefully, if he was a Dodger fan, he wins tonight. He doesn't have to worry about it.
If they lose, though, I think Max Muncy needs to make an appearance tomorrow.
Yeah, call him.
Okay.
Let's call him.
He got hot last time.
He did. So, Kratz, you got hooked. You went with over 4.5. They scored 4. And they had, 3 or 4 early? At least 3. They were at 3. Well, they had 2 obviously in the first inning, and then they were at 3.
Then it got to 3.
Yeah. And then
they got all 4. They got all 4 off of Heel. Heel was charged with all 4. So
what I tell you? If the Dodgers score 5, they win. They didn't score 5, they lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what that would go check the tape.
You did, but
check the tape.
You're such a shock jock. Such a radio host. Well, this is what I said.
By the way, Pat picked the over. That was no sweat, and I had a lot of sweat. I lost 5 to 10 pounds last night waiting for Juan Soto to do something, and then he did. He got a knock, and they brought him in.
Cheese.
That was more than
had an allergic reaction. Freddie Freeman's odds to hit a home run in the World Series at BetMGM plus 600, plus 625 game 2, plus 725 game 3, plus 625 game 4. If you bet $100 on Freddie to hit a homer in game 1, then rolled the winnings plus the previous bet amount over each game, you'd be up around $300,000.
I want someone to do that. Go ahead.
Now?
Well, I mean, yeah. Because if you win the first night, you're like, okay, maybe I'll go again.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody, unless you got more money than sense, rolling up with that, doing that.
Going $300K down for the next one, you're saying tonight?
No, but like winning the 600 and then betting, betting that winning. And then, because once you hit the first time, you're like, okay, you hit the second time, you're like, okay, I'm way over my skis here. I'm going to take that, whatever, 1,500, put it in my pocket.
Yeah. It's quick. Anyway, all right, we'll get to our picks for tonight when we swing back in our next break. Believe it or not, we'll pick 2. Let's see. I'm going to pick tensions are high. Someone will get ejected tonight. Believe it or not.
No.
So
Kratz?
hard to get ejected from a playoff game. No, I don't see it happening.
What if
Tensions
there's a
are not
brutal
high
night
between
behind the
teams.
plate? Terrible balls and strikes.
It's already happened and no one's got ejected.
They won't. They just won't. The umpires won't do that. It feels like they tell the umpires, stay out of it. Guys can, because Jazz wanted to. Jazz wanted to late in the
regular
game.
Season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, regular season. You look at them wrong, and they're like, he gone.
First team to 3 runs will win. Believe it or not. Tonight. I'm going not.
Yeah, I say yes. I believe that one.
If a team gets to 3 and it's 2-2 and they make it 3-2, they're going to win?
Depends on what inning it is. but I believe yes. I
Todd?
think yes.
I'm with you,
Every
Scott.
game is
They're
Yeah.
both starting to hit now, so I'm not fully on that board.
Boom.
I'm going to
Same.
say yes. 3 isn't going to be enough, though. I'm going to say yes, but 3 isn't going to be enough. Whoever gets to 3 first will be able to go to their high leverage guys during that time, because now they got a cachet of runs that they're playing with.
But it's not 3-0. It's just that they got to 3
I said
runs.
yes.
Okay. Just making sure. Just checking. Okay, cool. All right. We'll swing right back. We'll do slap hands. We'll announce.
By the way, I got one more.
What?
If
Quick.
the Yankees would have let those fools in, would it have been bad karma or not?
Yes.
Hell yes.
Yes, that would have been bad karma. I still believe in that karma stuff. That happened in the Padres-Dodgers series.
FT fan, what's up? Playoff Pap coming to you live right here off a heater from yesterday. We won. Today we going back at it. I got 2-game parlay today, okay? Under 5.5 in the first 5 and over 6 in the game. That puts me at plus 165. I'm putting 400 on it with a total return a little over 1,000 hopefully today, folks. So we're going to get this money.
Okay, Pap. I like where your head's at. So he thinks that it won't have significant runs early, right? You'll stay under the 5.5 mark in the first half of the game, but then he's got the over on 6. It's kind of a unique bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what do you have?
Unique.
Yeah.
I'm going third time's a charm. Max Muncy, I'm calling you out right now. Let's go, man. Just one hit, one RBI, one something. Just get on base, quit striking out, man. Come on. Garrett Cole going to throw you one of them high heaters. Get on top of it with your gray bat and hit it out of the park. Let's go.
I'll go with the Dodger. So yours is plus 125. What are you putting down?
100, dude. Because I'm going to end up in the positives. There's only not enough games left.
Okay. I'm going 270 to win, 200. Mookie Betts over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I think he hits a homer tonight, but I'm not bold enough to go with the home run prop. So he could get a knock and then get brought in. He could hit an RBI double, whatever. I think he gets to 2 of those. So I'm trying to win $200 on the board here. And I think it's Mookie's redemption game for what happened yesterday. Kratz, do you have a player prop or 2?
I'm going under for strikeouts. It's 5.5 for both Cole and Jack. I think, like we said earlier, they're not going to go very long, so it's both under 5.5 strikeouts. We need 5 or less. That's plus 185.
Mine's really simple. Yankees money line 750 to win 500. Ride that Cole train all the way to LA.
Going back to Cali.
It would be fun. So there's their BetMGM locks of the day from the whole crew. Good luck tonight. And also, if you're going for a home run prop, you know where to go. Bet for a shot at $50,000 in bonus bets if a player hits a home run in the bullpen. That's for BetMGM Sportsbook account holders. $10 or more on your choice of an MLB player to hit a home run. And if that happens where the home run lands in an MLB team bullpen, you'll get a share of a daily $50,000 BetMGM bullpen jackpot. Please read the rules because you got to make that your first pick after you opt in. Prizing will be paid out in bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'll announce some more guests adding to the party tonight that we'll be throwing on YouTube. All right, let's slap. So watch party tonight. Rooker's going to be on the whole time with AJ and myself and Trevor May. Guest list includes Grayson Rodriguez, Brandon Lau, Ross Stripling. Get a little Dodgers perspective from him. Obviously, Grayson Rodriguez knows the Yanks pretty well. And I'll actually throw this out there. I don't want too many guests because I want to let the host cook. So we'll see what happens. But 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's a good little second screen experience. You can listen to us while you're watching the game and seeing what happens. It's on the YouTube channel on FT. Subscribe and check it out. Kratz, what's on your head?
Well, they essentially built the Dodgers, and the Yankees want to beat them. So, had to wear my Rays hat. Friedman came from the Rays, and all the Yankees asked when I was over there was, "What do the Rays do? What do they do? What are the things they talk about?" So essentially, Tampa Bay Rays, you have made this World Series.
Isn't it funny though? For real, I feel like I've come almost every team, like someone that works at a team that I've come across has brought up the Rays at some point, where they're like, yeah, we want to be a little more like the Rays. It's usually more from like an ownership perspective because they're like, they're still good, but they don't spend a lot.
They also have never won a World Series.
That's why I think it's funny. I'm like, you would think that they're this dynasty.
You think they win the World Series every year?
Yeah. Like, okay, the Astros had a good run.
Wouldn't you rather be the Dodgers or the Braves?
How about the Giants during their run, which was not that long ago, when they
Giants,
won
for sure.
3 titles
3 out of
in
5?
5
I'm saying
years?
the Braves won the division 14 years in a row. The Dodgers are on a heater of being in the playoffs all these years in a row. The Yankees won what? They won how many? The Jeter won 5, right?
And yet we're talking about the Rays. We're talking about
The
the
Rays have never even won.
We're talking about the
It's
Rays.
like the Moneyball bull crap. The A's never won in the Moneyball. Why are we making movies about them?
It is funny. Don't you think it's funny? Like, everyone's like, oh, how do we be more like Tampa Bay? I'm like, why? I mean, certain parts of it, I get it. But they haven't won.
One day in the offseason, we got to dig in where the Rays are going to play next year because it ain't going to be at the Trop.
The whole year?
No
No.
chance to play there.
They're not going to fix it up?
Not from people I'm talking to. They're saying they don't know where they're going to be.
Wow. Well,
Disney. Orlando, we going to get that team.
It's fine. AJ and
Nobody
I
can
call the
live at
game.
Disney.
Don't worry.
We're
Yes.
going to get that team. Yeah, Orlando Rays. Change the name. It's going to say OR.
Rain Delay Central. Orlando Rain Delays.
Enjoy the game tonight, everyone. And we will see you this evening on the watch party.